Hi everybody.
Well, welcome to the last user group meeting of the semester. Thank you everybody who's been coming to meetings regularly every week, and for the people who just came for 1 or 2, thank you everybody to support what we're doing here and trying to help people learn. So today we're going to be talking about HCM, and we're going to kind of give some final thoughts on the TERP 10 and how you should go into it and what you kind of should expect to see and how you should approach studying for it so again, the bag of lanyards are going around from the Women in Technology event from today. They're very cool. I couldn't make it, I wanted to, but hope as many of you that could go did go.
Yeah, Neil, when you went, what did you win?
I won a Bose speaker.
$200 Bose speaker. And I thought it was for women only, that's why I didn't go.
Anyway, so does anybody have any questions before we get started? All right, go.
If you guys have any thoughts, anything about the end of the semester, TERP 10, life, just come to us after the meeting. We're more than welcome to talk to you for however long you want. So, we're going to discuss the unit Human Capital Management. This is not actually covered in our class.
I think it is now.
Oh, it is not.
It's covered in classes now, right? It isn't.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, it's something they recently added.
I did not know that. Okay, well, we're going to go over it anyway.
This was not covered when we took it, so it was kind of the first thing to see it when we went to the TERP 10.
All right, here are the primary processes that are involved within the human capital management. Organizational management, recruiting and hiring, developing personnel, employees, training and event management, travel, time, compensation, benefits, personal administration, like keeping personal information about employees and stuff, confidential, whatnot, manager's desktop, and employee self-service. Organizational management. This is actually the biggest part of HCM. It's the basis for personnel planning and development. It's necessary for personal admin. And it's used to create organizational structure for a company, like employee hierarchy, CEO, VPs, management, employee hourly, etc. Covers departments, job positions, and tasks. Recruitment and hiring. There are transactions that enable recruitment and hiring through advertisement of vacancies, identification of recruitment sources, such as coming to CMU career fair, something like that. Acceptance of applications and matching qualifications to applicants, and the actual hiring process.
So it's a little small, but let's start with the personal development here. So personal development helps maximize the value of employees in the company, right? So that's things like performance appraisals, career and succession planning, and career development. So training and things like that. All right, on to training and event management. So this involves managing employee activities associated with training, workshop attendance, and other business-related events, right? So in this, we have business event preparation, time schedules, event location, etc. Business's event catalog, so this is planning dates for events based on the demand. There's day-to-day activities, events, booking, canceling, etc. And then there's recurring events. These are firm bookings, locked and unlocking events, and follow-ups.
If we go fast, don't worry that you don't have to take notes. We will be sending this PowerPoint out per usual. If you guys have not been getting our PowerPoints throughout the semester for whatever reason, please come see me, Kyle, or Bob, and we'll get you hooked up.
So, travel management. So, as employees, especially in the IT field, there's going to be travel. And there's obviously a lot of travel for other positions as well. And this is something that HCM works with. So this includes all the functions of dealing with business trips. So settlements, forwards, financial accounting module, payroll, other systems. And you see down there, trips must end before the end date of payroll period to be settled. Right.
So time management is a part of the HCM2. It's evaluating the work performed by the employees and then determining employee availability. It records the work times, however much you work. Generally, if you're an hourly employee, this is way more important than being a salary employee. But, they're still equally as important. An example could be, leave, illness, overtime, hours away on business trips, substitutions, other things like that. Compensation management is basically, go over the terms of how much an employee gets paid, budgeting your company to match, whatever percentage that you put away from your income to see what employees get paid. Let's say you don't want to, hire too many people because if you pay too much, then you're not really being profitable as a company. Those also include long-term incentives too for employees that have been with the company for a while. Let's say for instance, my mom works at Spectrum Health and she just hit I think like 35 years, so they're giving her like a nice new TV. I mean, it's just like little incentives. Could be products, cash, maybe more vacation, etc. Benefits. The benefits are through the employee self-service, which we will get to later. Benefits could vary from anywhere between health, insurance, savings, stock, credit, and maybe different, like a company car or fitness program. Let's say if you enroll at a gym, your company will reimburse you for the cost of enrolling there.
And also on the miscellaneous, so 3M did something kind of unique where it was basically a club. If you're an employee, you got very discounted tickets to things like Vikings games and things around town. So those little benefits are all part of that.
Personnel administration. This kind of just facilitates the management of the personnel files. It is critical to maintain accurate information about employees and keep employee records confidential. You don't want someone from your employee self-service to be able to log in underneath someone else's name and be able to look at someone else's records, like where they live, family members, how much they make,
Social security numbers.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty crucial and not be able to have that get out, because that could also lead to legal troubles within the company too.
All right, so employee self-service. I want you to pay attention to the bold part here, because this is a perfect example of one of those questions that might be on the TERP 10, and it's basically going to be true or false. So employee self-service is a set of powerful, easy-to-use applications that empowers employees by allowing them to view, create, and maintain data in the SAP system. It sounds great if that's on there, and we did have a few questions about this.
What do you think? I mean, I almost think that this question was like word for word on the exam.
Right. And I don't think it was a true false, but it was obvious that this is the one. So, look for things like this when I talk about SAP services.
Being self-management, sorry.
Yep. So the accessible components of this: time management, benefits, personal information, the training and event management we talked about, the qualifications, and the accreditations.
When it says like training and event management too, through the employee self-service, you can actually sign up for own training, things that are offered within your company too. So it's like, if I'm an employee, I kind of want to sharpen my skills or give myself room to grow within the company, then I would be able to sign up for training by myself too. It kind of really cuts out the middleman going to your manager, like, I'd like to sign up for this, and then it's like, oh, I'll get back to you, and he never does. I mean, this kind of is kind of assurance for you that you know that you're signed up for this sort of training, you know what it is, and you don't really have to kind of wait.
I used something very similar to that. I actually took a course that was training you on Agile and doing story authorship for anybody who's familiar with the Agile methodology, as well as Lean Six Sigma courses that 3M was offering. And I didn't go to a manager or anything. I just signed up using the system very simply.
The human capital management structure, we're going to go over enterprise structure, personnel structure, and organizational. Actually, I left organizational structure out. I think. Enterprise structure, client company code, personnel area, and personnel sub area. I'm sure you've heard the top two plenty of times, but the new ones that we're going to kind of focus on is personnel area and personnel sub area. Client is the highest level in the SAP organizational hierarchy. It's not fake news. It is completely true. as I've said it a lot. All personnel administration organizational elements exist within the company. The company code represents an independent accounting unit. It's a level at which legally required accounting books and statements are created, such as G&L accounts, balance sheets, and P&L statements.
For everybody who wasn't already familiar with company code in the past 15 weeks.
So help me God if you get this question wrong on your exam. Alright, now we're going to go to the personnel area. It's an organizational element used exclusively by the personnel administration, such as the HR department. It must be assigned to a company code. It is direct hierarchy related to the company code. Each personnel area must be uniquely and clearly identified within the company code. Personnel sub-area represents a further subdivision of the personnel area. The principal organizational aspects of HR are controlled at this level, such as pay scale, wage type structures, and planning of work schedules. Control features are stored according to country. Let's say, you can't have the same personnel sub-area in Mexico as you do in the United States for reasons such being, they might be paying different currency, different wages, their method of work or structure might be different.
I think that goes into some country laws about how employees need to.
The main functions within the personnel sub-area is to specify country grouping. Like I just said, it must be unique to the company code. And master data entry could be a lot different. Setup and processing of wage types, pay scale groups depend on country grouping. Another function is that the set grouping for time management, so work schedules, substitution, absence, and leave types can be set up. They may vary from different type of country. Countries in Europe do a lot of different leave programs, like paternity leave. I know that's really different there too. Time off, they really encourage to have more of a home life as well. It generates different pay scale types, as I said, and area for employee basic pay, and defines the public holiday calendar. Holidays in the U.S. are not the same for every country.
All right, so the personnel structure. So it's relational. It's not hierarchical, right? Yeah, so they're being sales area. So forms the employee groups by specific status, right, and the type that are needed for HR administration. And this is primarily for the work hours and compensation. So it's made up of three things: the employee group, the employee subgroup, and the payroll areas. So employee groups, this is a division of employees, right? So it defines the relationship between an employee and a company based on the employee's contribution. So we can see here there are active employees, pensioners, early retirees. Now there's a completely different area for people like contractors and consultants, right?
People that aren't actually members of the company but are doing work for them.
Right, and that happens a lot if you go to a larger company. They might do a lot of consulting, somebody like Accenture, some of the big consulting firms, and those people are going to be in their own
Deloitte, people like that. Payroll area, this is an organizational unit used for running payroll. All companies who have payroll runs at the same time and for the same period are assigned the same payroll area. This kind of just means how often someone gets paid. Let's say you get paid twice a month or once every 2 weeks. Payroll may be run service twice a month, or for some employees once a month, or for others. It doesn't really matter. I mean, the CEO can get paid the same time as like a factory worker. Doesn't really kind of depend on the hierarchy of where you're at. It just kind of depends when and how you get paid.
and just how they set it up. I know some of the employees from larger companies like 300,000 have gotten paid on a monthly basis, while their factory workers are still paid on a 2-week basis. So it's kind of, it depends which payroll area you're in.
And you can't switch mid-payroll. Excuse me. You have to make sure at the end of the period that, for whatever reason, that's when you would be able to switch. I don't think that would come up, but it's just a pointer I put in there. Jobs and tasks. Jobs are general classifications of tasks performed by the employees. Different employees within the company are going to have different jobs. You know, let's say vice president of the county is going to have a lot different job than the CIO or something. Each job represents a unique classification of responsibilities in an organization: manager, analyst, supervisor. When created, a job should consider specific tasks and responsibilities associated with it. Let's say warehouse manager, his job tasks include maintaining inventory. Production manager oversees production, and accountant prepares accounting statements.
So info type. So info types are groupings of data fields, right? So data fields contain individual information, employee's last name, first name, social security number, custody address, things like that. Info types use specific validity periods for data. So updating info type doesn't replace data; it just creates a new validity period.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure if you've taken BIS 422, you don't delete data. You just don't. Because, if you enter something within the system, it's always good to keep it in there for kind of like audit purposes, to kind of look back on historical records and whatnot. And the things that I'm putting in bold in these PowerPoints are things that I think you should really need to know, because it's things that I remember that have been drilled into my head while I was taking the Term 10. So that kind of explains the bold fonts of these. And now we're going to kind of end with some pointers. Study every single day. I don't care if it's a weekend, I don't care if you take Sunday off. You should at least be studying, how often? Maybe 3 to 4 hours every night?
It depends. My personal study tactic for this was we were in classes from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Usually go home and do dinner until like 6:30, 6:45, and I study until 10, and then I was asleep. And on the weekends, I focused on group study, and that was usually from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. So it was a lot of work, and did that every day for 10 days. But it's only 10 days. It's not a huge thing to give that amount of time if you want to do well.
Right. If for some crazy reason that you think that you can maintain like a night job while you're doing this, I highly suggest not doing that. If you haven't yet, tell a manager or something that you need this time off, because you're going to be using all that time to study, and it'll really hinder you if you're not doing it. I highly doubt that's the case for anyone, but just to be sure.
See, that's not to say you can't succeed if you have to do that. I had some friends that worked during the Term 10, they had to work with their schedule around, so they worked evenings. Some of them still passed. It's just much more difficult on yourself, and it's way more stressful not knowing fully what you're going to be testing on. Another thing that isn't on here is don't miss any class sessions. I know it seems obvious, but I had a few friends that missed a couple class sessions, and it was devastating when they did not pass. So it's one of those things where you might be able to do it still, but don't chance it. It's a lot of money to throw away if you're not going to go to the classes.
If you gotta take, you gotta take your dog to the hospital or something, you have some circumstance that comes up that you have to miss a class, I would really highly suggest, immediately contacting a friend, seeing what you missed. Even maybe contact your advisor, your professor, because they'll work with you if you say like, hey, I did miss this class, will you please help me? They're not going to turn the shoulder on you, they will help. Give yourself around like an hour, 2 tops maybe of leisure every night, just so you don't go insane. It sounds kind of goofy, but you're still a human too. Watch Family Guy, like an episode. Watch your favorite TV show for a little bit. What's up?
We do it the same. I think we make that.
Oh, I was pretty much there.
So we're talking about studying the book we got. Is that what you're studying, or are you like supplemental materials for classes?
That's a really good question. Every single day, I'm pretty sure you're going to take a practice, like a little practice quiz about what you went over the day previous. Studying those questions do help, I would say, definitely. They're not guaranteed to be on the exam by any means, but it's definitely something that will be able to help you. But most of the studying that you're going to be doing is the notes that you're taking during the day. When I say studying every day, I'm not saying go through your entire book every night, because that's, you'll never be able to do that. Mostly try to study a lot of what you learned that day, and try to cover a little bit of what you learned over previous things that you've looked after. Because keeping your brain fresh about the material that you're learning is pretty crucial.
I actually studied both the notes and the book. I actually went through the whole book a couple different times, and blocked out hours of study for certain modules. And then one of my study plans that I made for myself, that some other friends who were also successful in the test did, was we tried to focus on areas that we were really grasping and really getting during the classes. Because you don't need to get 100% on this test to be certified. You have to pass it, right? So I don't know what it is this year, but last time you needed 51% to pass. And it sounds, it doesn't sound very hard, but it is, because a few of my friends actually got 40 out of 80. It was a perfect 50% that didn't get certified. So what I did was I went through, wrote out the modules and the areas that I was really strong in, and then studied those even harder. So I knew that when I got to those modules, I would just knock it out of the park. And then I moved on and studied some of the harder stuff that I wasn't grasping. And it ended up being very successful doing it that way.
Another point I'd like to make is go to bed at a reasonable time. I mean, you have to be there at 8 o'clock every morning. If you're staying up until 1 studying, you're just literally hurting yourself, because you're going to go there and like the first 2 to 3 hours that you're there, your brain's going to be asleep. I mean, unless you're nocturnal or you're like a robot that doesn't require sleep, definitely try to go to bed at like at least 10 or 11. Don't stay up past midnight, because you're just going to be shooting yourself in the foot. This kind of seems like a no-brainer, but take notes during the sessions. You're not just going to be able to Pictionary this, just memorize the whole thing. I mean, every single thing that they're saying, I would almost like recommend writing down. Like, really. Because there's a lot of stuff that's in the book that's really kind of daunting, but once professors are talking about breaking it down, it makes it a little more easier to understand. When they're breaking that stuff down, take notes on how to do that.
And don't just take notes on your session. If you know anybody who are in other sessions with different instructors, the instructors teach differently. So try to trade notes and see if their instructors gave some examples that yours didn't, so you can kind of use all of the resources that are available and not just your instructor. I did that with a few of my friends, and it was pretty helpful, because the other instructor was providing information that mine didn't, and vice versa.
Yeah, and then when you're going through the TERP 10 too, you're gonna, everyone around you is learning the same material at the same time. So I would really suggest, getting a group of good people, maybe people that are smarter than you. That's what I did, and study with them. Like, it'll really help out a lot. Like, I tried studying alone for like the first 2 nights, and I often found myself like really distracted, getting sidetracked. But when you're with a group of people, you really stay on task, and it was beneficial for me. I'm going to let you guys do your own thing. And, if you like studying alone, then study alone. That's how you do it. I'm not going to tell you to not do that. And don't drink. It's cliche, but yeah, just don't drink. And if you have to have a drink every night, then get some help. But if you really, really have to, just have one. And 1 is the magic number. Just don't do it.
Other than Friday, after you get the pass.
Yeah, after you pass, just go crazy if you have to. But during it, restrict yourself.
So I have one more thing to add to